Greetings everyone, welcome back to Life of Clay for another sculpting video. And if you are new here, I am Kenji, your sculptor. This time, I will be sculpting a creature that might give you the heebie-jeebies. One of the largest caterpillar in the world, the Hickory horned devil caterpillar, Citheronia regalis. And before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell icon if you want to see more of my sculpting videos in the future. And now, without further ado, come bring the clay on and let's meet this giant spiny hot dog. This caterpillar is quite challenging to make. To get the near likeness of a model, drawing a detailed sketch is what I usually do, observing all the minute details, and this helps me a lot in visualizing how the model will turn out. And if you're wondering what are the materials I used in this sculpture, you can check them out in the description box below this video. We can now build its armature, and I used 2 pieces of this 3mm aluminum wire. I apply epoxy on them and sandwich this log of aluminum foil in between them. I am leaving these wires extra long so I can have something to hold on to while I'm sculpting. Then I just cover it with another sheet of aluminum foil to hold the whole thing together and constrict it tightly to make it compact. And I bend it to position. Then I wrap a cotton twine around to fasten it. Let's just set it aside for a while and let's jump into making its head. And for its head, I used this 1mm stainless steel wire and I just bend its tip into a hook shape. I then apply epoxy and cover it with the small piece of aluminum foil. Then let's cover it with this light orange translucent clay. I choose to use translucent clay for the head and other of its appendages to achieve more realistic look. Then I just shape out this head based on the reference. The Hickory horned devil is a blue-green colored caterpillar about the size of a hot dog, covered in long orange and black horns and spines, and is found throughout the deciduous forest areas of the eastern United States. They feed heavily on their host plants such as hickory, pecan, sweet gum, sumac, and persimmon for 37 to 42 days and can grow up to 5.9 inches long. Then at this point, I adding these tiny pre-baked polymer balls for its eyes. And now let's add some texture on the surface. I usually begin sculpting the main body, but this time I'm gonna start out making all its appendages first for a particular purpose. And after that, we can now cure it with heat gun. Next is sculpting its true legs. I use this small gauge of stainless steel wire. I bend it into half and form the tip into claw. I'm gonna sculpt these legs in pairs. Then I just cover them with small pieces of clay and shape them out into thick conical spine. Now I'm adding the segment details, and after this, we will cure them with heat gun. And once they are completely cooled down, I just paint them with wash of burnt sienna, red, orange, and black, and just set them aside. Next is sculpting its horns, and I use same translucent clay, but this time I create gradient by layering strips of different shades of orange horizontally. Then I just cut vertical strips out of it, and I also cut some tiny pieces of clay and roll them out into conical spines. Let us now cover the wire with a strip of clay and shape it out into a slender horn. Then I apply dots of liquid polymer clay around it and stick on these tiny spines, pressing them gently and smooth out their bases. I had bought a magnifying glass stand when I was on vacation and I modified it for my eye comfort. It really helps me a lot, especially in dealing with the small and detailed parts like these horns. And after that, I just cured them in the oven. And as part of the advanced preparation, I also paint these horns with red, orange, and black on their tip and just set them aside. This caterpillar's frightening appearance is purely a ruse. The spines, though prickly, do not sting and the larva is harmless, and actually one of the more easily handled of Saturniidae. Next is sculpting those black spines. And I use this black colored clay that I cut into thin strips. I just roll them out into conical spines and precure them with heat gun. And after that, I just roll out some tiny conical spines and attach them to the long spines. Same procedures as what we did on those orange horns. You know guys, making these horns and other spines took me lots of hours to complete them, mostly during the night because I have also other daytime work during the week. And after that, I just lay them on this piece of floor tile and put them in the oven to cure. Next is sculpting its pro legs using this 1mm aluminum wire and Cosclay. I just cover the wire with the cut pieces of clay and shape them out, and I also add wrinkle texture around them. Then let's add the gripping tip called planta. And after that, we can now cure them in the oven. And we can now start sculpting its body. I cover it with a thin sheet of clay and we will be working on the fore section of its body first, shaping out its body based on the reference. Then I lay a plastic film over it and add segments and those nodular base of the horns and spines. When this caterpillar feeding season reaches its end, they then crawl down the host plant where they burrow into the dirt and pupate in a well-formed chamber at depth of 5 to 6 inches. The pupa will remain in the soil through the winter and the adult regal moth will emerge in early summer. Winged adult regal moths probably live only 1 or weeks, so mating and laying eggs must occur quickly. After that, the moth dies due to exhaustion and starvation, starved because of their non-functioning vestigial mouth, and the life cycle of the regal moth starts again. At this point, I added the head temporarily, just to shape the area around its neck to give it a good fit when we attach the head permanently later on. Now I'm adding the bases of its legs, shaping them out, then I make crater in their center. And we can now attach the pro legs, blending their base to seal the seam. And I also add some folded skin texture on the base of its pro legs and on its body segments. Then I also add poke holes on the true legs bases and to all the nodules around its body. And we can now pull its head off and bake it in the oven to cure. First curing of the body is done, we can now resume sculpting its rear section. First, let's cut these excess wires off. Then I apply liquid polymer clay on the rim of the connection for better bonding and cover it with a thin sheet of clay, shaping it out and adding its details. Now let's add its anal clasper, and I cover their surface using the orange translucent clay. Blend them in and texture their surface using this dotting tool. Then I add poke holes and folded skin texture. And we can now do the final baking. And let us now paint it. I first cover this translucent clay part of its rear end with masking tape to protect it from the paint. Then I start priming it with gray gesso. This will prevent the what we call plasticizer migration, one of the reasons that cause tackiness to the finished polymer piece. Next, painting it with aqua blue and titanium white mix. We can now remove the masking tape and proceed to the next painting process. Now I'm glazing some areas with this thin down green, sap green, and yellow. Painting the inner side and the side of the pro legs with a mix of titanium white and yellow. painting some areas with a mix of yellow, titanium white, and raw sienna. And for all the black patterns, I used pure black. Titanium white, aqua blue base, and yellow mix for those light colored pattern on its lateral side. And for those spiracles and line patterns, I use also pure black. Then I paint the head with a wash of burnt sienna, black, and burnt umber. And after all the painstaking and meticulous process, we can now assemble it, and I sorted all the parts to make the assembling easy for me. I used 2 parts epoxy in attaching its head, and clear resin for all its appendages, so I can reposition them if necessary. Assembling is done, and I just let it sit overnight to fully cure the resin. And we can now seal it with varnish. I use satin on the most part of its body and gloss to the other parts like its horns. And there we go, our Hickory Horned Devil Caterpillar is finally done. I hope you find this video enjoyable and entertaining. And if you did, please give this video a like, drop your comments about it, and sharing it with our friends will be highly appreciated. And please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell icon right next to it. You can also follow my works on other social media platforms where I'm in, and all the links are in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and see you again next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!